Here we go. Welcome to another edition of Write Club, where there are no rules and the rules don't matter. Just like in Fight Club, the first rule of Write Club is there are no rules. And the second rule of Write Club is that we talk about Write Club. It's not a secret that we don't share what we write until the end. And today we're going to talk about Back to the Future. Today is actually, as we talked about in the previous session of Write Club, storytelling is like ethically lying or ethically telling a story that may or may not be true. And you can take that story and create it as a story that looks like a sci-fi book that has an alien love affair. It can look like a romance novel between two unlikely bands or people from different sections of the world. It could be a period piece, a drama, a history. It can take any shape that it wants. And as the author, you have the creativity to run with that. One of the most impactful ways of writing is writing into the future. Is writing into, very often we call them dystopian fictions, as opposed to utopian, which is, looking at the future as something bright and colorful. Almost every classic age generation has a dystopian fiction novel as part of their generational timestamp. So Handmaid's Tale, 1984, The Hunger Games, all of those kind of books, War of the Worlds, something that looks into the future. And usually humanity likes to gravitate to that dark, oppressive, warlike environment in the future. But we do like to tell stories that take place in the future. We also like to tell stories that span the ages from early life to much later in life. Often, as authors, we don't feel that we have the authority to tell a story because we don't feel like we've had enough life experience, or we don't know how it's ending because our life hasn't, that situation hasn't ended, or that hasn't ended. And I mean, if you think of it, none of us really have the authority to give the ending because none of us who are living have died yet. So we don't know the ending yet, but we take that ethical storytelling of talking about what happens into the future of something that we're not necessarily familiar with. And as we know from the other times that we've done Write Club, you're always talking about your own experience. Even if you're fictionalizing the story, even if it's a story about a character that is named something else, it's a different gender, there are different ethnic background, they can be anything else, but it's still your experience. So today we're going to play with going into the future. And really, if you get lost along the way, just picture the story of Forrest Gump. Just picture the life cycle of that full story that the movie Forrest Gump, well, the book before that didn't project into his elder years, but a whole life cycle that happened between basically childhood or even predating childhood, giving the background all the way through like this long experience. And the book really ended at his middle age years, but it could have gone on in the same way. There could have been a Forrest Gump 2 that went on to tell the story of his elder years and different fantastic things that he may have done. So we're going to take the exact same permission and allowance today to play into the future, to play into Back to the Future. It's uncharted territory because we haven't experienced things that are older. We've written about, all of us have childhoods to sink back into and write about, but we haven't yet been older than we are today. We haven't seen beyond today. It's part of the human experience. Time only moves one way. We can remember the past. We can't remember the future. And yet, somehow, we kind of can. If you look at it from a metaphysical place, we have sometimes something called a déjà vu, where we know we don't remember something, yet it feels so real in that moment. Well, imagine that there's also a vu déjà, a feeling that you're going to experience something that you have never yet experienced. So we're going to play in that world. So before we get into the free writing meditation, I will once again give you the guidelines for free writing practice for this. So be prepared. Set your timer. So today we're relying on me for the timer. Get comfortable, remove all your distractions, have your notebook and extra pens ready. On the top of your notebook, write the date and topic, and write the intention for the topic at the top of the page. Today could be Back to the Future or any variation of that you like. Not only does this keep you grounded in today's lessons, but it's also for your referencing for what we'll get into in the next edition of Write Club, which is the message matrix, which starts to allow you to just pinpoint, even using a sticky note on a table, on a big piece of paper on the wall or on a book. You can put the page number of your notebook or the title today, and then you can find it and access it later. Rule number 4, keep writing. Don't stop to edit, to rephrase, to think, or to censor. Don't go back and read what you've written until after the free writing session is over. Trust your pen. Stay focused on the topic and the image that arises. If you keep your pen moving, you'll bypass the censor, the resistance, the editor, the critic, and especially if you're lucky, the ego. Don't judge your writing. That actually comes together with ego, because anytime we're in Judge Judy mode, that's our ego. Whatever comes up, write it down. Don't resist. If you reach a point where you can't think of what to write, take a breath, relax your shoulders, loosen your grip on your pen. Let whatever comes up come up, including images. I mean, this could be squiggly lines, circles, exclamation marks. You might find an emotion comes up through whatever it is that you're putting on your paper. If nothing comes up for the rest of the duration today, accept that. There's always tomorrow. Don't write from a space of punishing yourself. It'll reflect in the writing. Above all, do not read what you've written until the time is up. Tell the truth, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. Truth has a beautiful way of rearing its ugly, beautiful head through your pen. Let your writing find its flow and its form. Allow it to take shape organically if it wants to be a poem, an essay, a speech, a rant, a dialogue, whatever form. Don't stop the flow. Break the rules. Don't worry about staying in the lines, syntax, punctuation, grammar, rhyme, meter, doesn't matter. There's time for that later. Allow your writing to surprise you. Be passionate. There is nothing, there are no rules to good writing, but boring writing is boring. Be passionate. That is the antidote to boring writing. If you practice daily, your writing will be more passionate, livelier, and more astonishing, because you'll start to get bored of your own stuff. And new stuff will rear its head. When the session is over, we're going to read our writing aloud. If you're doing this privately on your own, read your own writing aloud. Listen for what works as if you're hearing it for the first time. You'll be able to hear what resonates with you. And if you hear what resonates with you, it'll therefore resonate with your reader. And with that, let's begin. I'm going to turn off my camera so I don't distract you. And take a deep breath in. Allow your pen in your hand. And now imagine for a moment that you are sitting on a park bench somewhere. And you look to your left, and there's no one there. It's a beautiful day. And you look to your right, And you notice a person sitting beside you to your right. And you smile at her, and she smiles at you. And as you look at her, you realize she looks very familiar. And she nods at you in subtle acknowledgement, because you are now sitting beside the 90-year-old version of yourself. And you look at the beauty behind her eyes and all the wisdom. And you want to ask her questions. The first question you ask her is, are you happy? Did you live a happy life? What does she answer you? What does she say? How is her speech? Is it long, drawn out? Does she close her eyes to try to remember? You ask her, did she have hardships in her life? Were there things she overcame? What would she have done differently? What are some things she wouldn't change, even if she could? Were there some things that surprised her through the years? And don't forget, you can ethically storytell, ethically imagine the years between now and 90, the decades. What does she say about those years? Did she have great love? Did she have lovers? Did she have great loss? Did she have anything that she wanted to do that she sacrificed? Did she have anything that she did in secret? Did she fulfill all of her dreams and aspirations from when she was a little girl? What does she wish she spent more time doing? What does she wish she spent less time doing? What does she wish she spent more energy, time, money on? As you're speaking to your 90-year-old self, and she's telling you, what does she call you? What does she say? Does she have a nickname for you? A loving nickname for her younger self? Does she call you by that name and say, I wish I would have when I was your age? I wish I would have done more of. I wish I would have done less of. I wish I would have told someone something. What does she wish she would have told? To who? Now she reaches into her handbag, into her purse, and she looks inside it, and she finds something that she wants to give you. What is that thing? Is it something you lost? Is it something you always wanted and she finally got it? Is it something that only came to her in a future time? Is it something she made, or maybe you made it and she somehow has it? And she tells you the story of that thing. That memento. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What would she like you to do with it? What does she want you to promise that you will do with this? Do you take that thing and hold it to your heart? Do you promise her that you will do that thing that she asks? Do you promise her that for the next years, decades, you will do more of what she asked, what she wanted to do more of? Do you let her know that you will do less of what she wanted to do less of? Is it worry? Is it yell? Is it take people for granted, take situations for granted? Stress? And do you promise her that all those things that she wanted to do and didn't have a chance to do, will you do them now? Between now and the time you're 90, by the time you're her, will you do them now? Hold the thing that she gave you and promise her, I will do. Is it travel? Is it dance? Is it laugh? Take more chances? love more. Have more courage. Do something that you've never done before. Do you promise her that? Take the memento that she gave you and promise her, I promise and as you're writing all your promises to your 90-year-old self, as you finish up, write, I promise that I will live. I promise I will live. I promise I will live. In whatever way that means for you. And as we're finishing up the free writing session, I'll leave you with the quote from Henry David Thoreau. How vain it is to sit down to write when you have not stood up to live.